Hello, ladies and gentlemen, itsmontez.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. I've got a very special guest on today. He's a Christian author. He's writing a book. I'm gonna let him tell you the title. I'm gonna let him tell you his name, and I'm going to ask him some questions about his book, and hopefully you all might be able to get some motivational, inspirational things out of this. Also, we do plan to have a live show every single Sunday at 1 o'clock so that you all would be able to listen to it. Anyhow, without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you my guest, Ziri Dafranchi.
Hi people. My name is Ziri Dafranchi. I'm an author, and my first book is called Life, A Mystery Solved. It came out in June, early June. It's available online on most of the book retailing websites. Um, I think I'll be talking more about the book as the interview progresses, but just to say that it's a pleasure being on the Montez show, actually. And it's a privilege to be on air, having a chat with him, and also having all of you around, being a part of the audience. So I just want to say a big hi to everyone.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being on. It's really a pleasure for me as well. Your background is just so explicit. Could you tell me where you're located first? I mean, before we get right into geez, that's a great background.
All right, thanks a lot for that. I'm currently in a town called Dartford. It's in Kent, in southeast of England. And where I am is called the Central Park. Maybe I'll just move my camera around a little bit so you can see. Yeah, this is Central Park, and the building at the back is the town's the county library. So that's where I write some times, actually.
I tell you, that's an amazing view. That's just beautiful on my eyes on this side of the screen. So tell us a little bit about your book. What exactly is it about? Like the core content of the book. What is it about?
The book really, as the title says, is Life, a Mystery Solved. The crux of it all is demystifying life. I bet you understand that in life, many times people say, oh, life is a mystery, or one thing about life is a mystery, or the other thing about life is a mystery, or if only I knew this, or if only I knew that. But the truth of the matter is, from my own experience and understanding, which is why I put the book out, is there is no mystery at all in life. Everything is
how long have you been writing? Like, was it always an inspiration for you? Is it something that just came out and you just started when you were young, or was this something that started when you got older and then decided to become an author?
Yeah, some people say that they've always wanted to write, or they always knew that they were going to be writers. But in my case, absolutely that wasn't the case at all. I never really thought about writing. I never knew I was going to even become an author at any time in my life. But it's something that came up with, I'll say, the journey of life itself. I went through a particular phase in the journey of life itself. In the Christian circle, it's often called or referred to as the wilderness experience. It was while going through that wilderness experience, for those who don't know it, is derived from the story of Moses in the Bible, when he exiled himself more or less from the palace in Egypt to go into the wilderness, running for his life. The difference is that, of course, life in Egypt in the palace is different from the wilderness existence. So, wilderness experience connotes a time of struggle, a time of difficulties, a time that is not so palatable. And incidentally, that happens to be when God called unto Moses. That's when he discovered himself. More or less, that's what happened to me. Because in that wilderness experience, I discovered who I am, and by discovering who I am, I decided to start putting down some of these insights I was receiving, this new inspiration I was getting. I started blogging about them, and I would say that was how the writer was born, really.
Very nice, very nice. I'm gonna ask you to speak up a little bit more so the audience can hear you. I can't hear you that well, but my next question is when so you decide you get the message that it's time for you to write. So where did you turn to get started with the book? Was this, I'm sure you freestyled at home, you wrote a little bit, but where did you turn to actually make it come true?
Okay, the story of the book life really is I started with blogs, several or different aspects of life, that I was beginning to realize that the life most of us are living is not necessarily the life that should be. For instance, I just realized that sometimes we spend most of our time engaged in money making activities. Either you're working, some people work like here in the UK 9 to 5, work around the clock, some work 12-hour shifts. And at the end of the day, I started wondering that this couldn't be how God ordained for one to live. And then the image came to me of the hamster, the little hamster, like a rat, in the
Yeah,
wheel.
yeah, yeah.
When it's going round and round and round and round and round, it's very active. It's doing a lot, but it's going nowhere. And it's actually exact.
Stagnated, a little bit stagnated.
Yeah, it is stagnated, but looking at it, it believes that it is actually doing a whole lot, you know, but then it's not moving anywhere. And what it's doing is exerting on it. Do you get me? It will get tired, yet having not achieved much. So that got me thinking. I would say at this point that naturally, I think I'm philosophical. I think a lot, not negatively, but I try to reason things out, by reflections and meditation. And that was how I started writing the blogs I was sharing on Facebook, on Google Plus. So what really encouraged me was that most of these blogs, as little as brief as they received a whole lot of
Traffic.
and comments, and lots of them encouraging. And the more I wrote, this is it really. The little I got, I wrote about it, and the more I wrote, the more inspiration I received.
Okay,
And
so a lot of people they're writing and they're getting into their content. Like maybe they're video creators. There's people that are doing music and they're doing things like this. And you say you turn to a blog, and at first I'm sure it started slow and things like that. How did you, like, what gave you the power to say, okay, I'm gonna keep on writing this blog. I'm gonna keep on doing these things. Like, what did you do to keep motivated? I mean, like, I'm sure, again, like you said, like a hamster in a wheel, you felt like you were spinning over and over and over again. The whole repetitiveness, like some people get overwhelmed and they quit. What kept you going?
Yeah, very good question, really. The key thing really is, for me, I couldn't really have quit at any time because how do I put it now? There was something in me. You understand? I knew I needed to get this thing out. Granted that the first responses I got were all positive, but the fact is, it is something burning inside of me. If I'm going to say this to anyone who wants to, a would-be author or writer, this is the key thing, really, right? You don't write because you want to write. You write because you've got something you want to write about.
Oh my gosh, that is so powerful.
Yes,
Say that one more time for the audience, please.
yeah. So you don't write because you want to write or you want to be an author or a writer. No. You write only because there is something you have to write about. You've got something to say. You've got something to communicate with the rest of the world. You've got something you believe they need to know, they need to hear about, that they haven't heard yet. That is what motivates you to write. And for me personally, that is what got me going. I knew that I had something tangible, something unique, something new. You understand? That people need to know about. And as a matter of fact, that desire to get it out is what kept me going.
That's powerful stuff, man. I like to hear that. The whole desire of wanting to make something, wanting to let people know, and so okay. So you're on the blogs, you're writing, and so now you take it from the blog to a book. What makes you say, okay, I'm pulling it out of a blog now. I'm gonna put this on page format. By the way, how many pages is the book?
Life Mystery Solved is about, all in all, it's about 242 pages, but the readable pages, you know what I mean? If you um, exempt the bibliography and table of content and
Oh, we
the
can't
number,
hear you very well. We can't hear you very well.
I think it's 242 pages, but the readable pages is about 230. Did you hear?
Yes, we heard at that time. 230 pages, really. So is it broke down into chapters, or like how do we get the content?
The book is in three parts. The first part talks about it. The book takes life as a journey. So the first part is the beginning of life itself, and it's got a few chapters, I think three or so. The first chapter is called Inception. In other words, the beginning. So it talks about the beginning of life. And the interesting thing there are some scientific facts that have been used to kind of emphasize on the so-called mysteries of life. For instance, if you permit me, I'll quickly say one of such mysteries is how it is. Science will say that when a sperm cell and fertilizes an ovum, that an embryo is formed. That is how human beings come about anyway. But then what got my curiosity is a sperm cell and an ovum comes about, and then a child, an embryo is formed. But how is it then that out of, according to science, about 400 million to 1.5 or 1.2 billion sperm cells are released by ejaculation? And I'm saying, how is it then a particular sperm cell that gets to fertilize the ovum? How? Out of a million or out of 400 or 1 point something billion? Are you with me? That's a mystery on its own. So how is it then that this is the particular cell that does this job? And then I look again, you see married couples, they could engage in sexual activity probably, often as possible. But how is it then that every time sexual intercourse takes place, it doesn't result to conception? How is it? If really, scientifically, once a sperm cell, then an embryo is formed. How is it possible that people would have sexual intercourse on and on? I mean, couples, and even at that, nothing happens. Isn't that a mystery to you, Montez?
Yeah, that is a mystery to me. So like, okay, the second part. Tell us about the second part a little bit. Can you do that?
Yeah, I would, of course. So it talks about from the first part, which is Inception. It talks about who am I, Then talks about why am I, why are we here, that more or less talking about purpose. Then from there we move on to the journey itself. That's part B. Is the journey itself. Where from, where to. Every journey has a beginning, every journey has an end. You need to know where you're coming from to know where you're going, isn't it?
Yes, this is true.
Also, having known where you are or where you're coming from, you need to have a destination for any journey to be worthwhile. You don't just pack your bag and hit the road.
Right.
Not having decided where you're going.
I'm going up and go where I want. Yeah, right. You can't just.
Right. Yeah, you must, for any journey to be worthwhile, there must be a destination at least. So we need to know where we're coming from and where we're going. So having established those coordinates, we moved on into the journey itself. So we began to look at life, more or less degrade life into the various segments. And in those segments, we're looking at the mindset responsible for them. That was why before the interview, when I was chatting with you, I mentioned freedom. And I did say that most times we say the system, the system, the system.
Right.
But in effect, who's the system anyway?
Right. So like, so before we get into the big topic of discussion, I want to ask you, what are you going through at this time when you're writing the book and you're coming out of the whole blogging stage and you're deciding you're going to put this onto paper and pad? What's going on in your life? What's going on in life?
Very good question. I swear it was not a very enjoyable experience I went through. Having just hinted to you about wilderness experience is imagine moving from the palace to going to the wilderness. That was what it was for. What it was like for me. I had stopped working at the time where my contract ended, my last job, and before then, anyway, I was already thinking I was, going to pull out and do something for myself. I guess it was my spirit being prepared for what I'm doing currently. So it wasn't an easy process for me. I've been a banker. I've worked in professional accounting. I've worked in management. So after all of that, to find myself unemployed, it was like coming down the hill, you know. So it wasn't a palatable position I was at the time, but as is often the case, it is actually in ruins. That's where you find treasures.
Yeah, right. Through all the
Yeah.
problems, through all the bumps in the road or the mistakes that one makes. That's what I'm always telling people. These mistakes are actually, or the problems that we go through are actually vital. Like, this is how we learn. This is how we do the best that it is that we do, you know?
Sure. No, you're very right about that, Montez, because even reviewing, going through history, human history, you would understand or you would discover that most of the people we call great men, right, they came to greatness through a whole lot of difficulties. Not many actually just rose from the start up to the finish. Let me take, for instance, one of the guys that I've profiled personally, Nelson Mandela. Okay. Um, he grew up in um, um, apartheid South Africa, and he was passionate about securing freedom for the black people in South Africa. But the thing is, he found himself in prison for 27 years,
Huh.
in a high security prison for 27 years. There in prison alone is enough to break even the strongest of men.
Right.
Now
A
imagine
lot of
27.
pressure,
Yeah,
especially back then.
and
Especially back then, it was a lot. It was a lot rougher going through things. A day in prison back then
sure,
would be like, whoo, it would be awful.
that tell me about it. I mean, it was horrible. Not to talk about the demeaning and the dehumanizing treatments that they received. You see, but the truth is, the man that we came to know later as Nelson Mandela was formed in prison.
Ah,
The Nelson Mandela who went into prison is not the Nelson Mandela we got to know. So prison, the difficult situation in his life, changed him to a better person, changed him to the man that most people in the world today, recognize as a great man.
I
So what
see.
I'm trying to say in effect is we mustn't underestimate our the problems we go through in life. Say as a young chap, or a younger a teenager, you're going through a lot of struggles. Maybe you're feeling, oh, the world has disappointed you, or it's you against the world, as Tupac said. You begin to wonder, no, this is it's all, why me? Why me? The truth is, if you can just calm down and begin to look at those problems, those obstacles from a different perspective, as they are meant to build you up. They are meant to make you who you ought to be. They are supposed to be not stumbling blocks, but stepping stones. They are supposed to be experiences that
Oh,
is going to form you.
that is
Are you with me?
that is powerful. That's powerful. There's supposed to be extreme advancements. Like these are the most valuable pieces that are coming out.
Oh, sure. So when you begin to view them that way, you would then not write them off. You will not wish them away, as I often say, because I mean, I could go on and give you a whole lot of examples. There is this chap Joseph in the Bible, one of the sons of Jacob. Okay, for no fault of his, was sold into slavery by his own brethren. Okay, from slavery, he did well in Potiphar's house, and for doing good again, for avoiding a temptation, was sent into prison, and he was in prison for only God knows how many years.
Right,
You
right.
see, yeah, but yeah, just to confirm to you that these experiences, they prepare us for the role ahead. When Joseph eventually became the prime minister in Egypt, fancy that, from a slave to a prisoner, an ex-convict, now he's a prime minister. He's now Lord over the people who kept him in jail. He's Lord over his former master, Potiphar. He's Lord over the entirety of Egypt, except for Pharaoh.
Wow.
But this is a guy who as a young chap, was sold as a slave. And as a young chap, was imprisoned. For no wrong of his.
Through all the pain, all the strife, so everything that was going on, he still prevailed and was up top. This is when he was learning. Do you suggest this?
That is the lesson. That is the lesson he was learning, because the quotation of the statement that Joseph made that shows it is when his brothers came and he revealed himself to them, and I'm sure they were worried that, oh, this guy might now avenge, all the wrongs we've done to him. He said, no, don't worry about that. That though you meant it for evil, that God meant it for good.
That's
what I'm getting.
That's powerful.
Yeah, powerful, and that's the reality of everyday life. The things that are supposed to be for evil, in actual fact, when we look at them in the right perspective, we will see that it's meant for good. I could just even go on more about Joseph and break down his experiences, but maybe some other time we'll talk about that, just for the sake of time. But
it could be a great topic on a Sunday at 1 o'clock, because I've told everybody we're going to be airing this again. We're going to set up programming. We'll start doing it on Sundays. All right. So you're going through lessons, you're getting your knowledge, you're getting your power, comes out the book. Here the book comes. Who are some people who helped you get the book produced, publishers, so on and so forth? Who are some people?
Okay, I'm going to tell you something that might surprise you, depending on your experiences with God, really. I kept writing. I just followed instructions, really, in my spirit. I kept writing. I knew I had to do the book because, like I said earlier on, the things I was beginning to realize now about life and the little blogs I've done, I felt, no, it would be best to put this in a book form. You understand? And get it out there. Not everyone is able to read the blog. Not everyone goes online. So that is when I started. That's why I decided to make it a book, and I wrote the book. Just shortly before I finished the book, I didn't know how to go about publishing it. I wasn't sure what's going to happen. In publishing, I now understand there is a traditional route, which is whereby a publishing house takes up your book or manuscript and gives you a contract if they feel it is worth publishing. But then that's a long process, because it means you have to begin to look for literary agents to, go through your stuff. That might take, who knows, only God knows how long to get it out. And then there is this other thing now that is going on, which is called self-publishing. Okay, and that means you are able to now do it for yourself, or you can make some money and make some payment towards that. And I just prayed. That's the story. I prayed and I said, God, you gave me this commission. You gave me this inspiration. This book is your product. You already have a plan for it. What's the plan? Who is going to publish it?
Right.
I don't think it was this very same day.
On his leaning on faith and not sight, not knowing what you're going to do, letting him guide you and be your feet. This is nice.
That's correct. And one day, I think I was either waking up or just about to go to bed, and the voice whispered to me clearly, say, Nelson Publishers. So I made a note of that, Nelson Publishers, and I went on with the book. As soon as I finished it, I went online. I googled Nelson Publishers, and there was only two results that came out. One was a company in Scotland here, which was already defunct, so it couldn't be Nelson. And then there was Thomas Nelson, the Christian publisher. As I was reading the profile actually online, I knew immediately these are the guys who are going to do the publishing for me. So I approached them, and
where is it? So you just type this in on Google. What would you say the chances were that this would come up? I mean, like I'm sure you're just ecstatic. What are these feelings that are coming through when you're finding out? Okay, now I'm about to get it published. Prayers have been answered. I'm getting this going. What are some feelings that you're going through?
Well, first and foremost, when God spoke, I knew that was Him, and I knew that He couldn't mislead me. So yes, I was confident that nurse, whatever it is, these are the guys who are going to do it. I typed in, and then I saw this result. I was amazed. To be honest, that was the first reaction. I was surprised. I said, "Wow, this is now looking really like something is going on. The Holy Spirit is really doing something here." And I went onto their website. Through them, I came into contact with their self-publishing arm, which is Westbow, and they're the guys that handled it. If I can quickly just say here that the experience I had with Westbow Publishers, and I must say that I wouldn't say every experience is the same as mine, but just what I'm trying to say here is when God is leading, everything just works perfect for you. I had a very good rapport with, because there are various stages. I had a very good rapport with everyone I worked with, and the speed at which my project was, executed, boy, I think it's record, because it started in March, and by June the 3rd, June the 6th, actually, the book was out.
Very nice.
The speed marveled me and made me know that God's hand is in it.
Well,
so I was excited.
So now you got the book done. You've got going through, and you got it out, and you're feeling like this is the message that you need to share. This is the book that people need to read. Where exactly can people find this book? Where is this book located?
Well, it's online. The major retailers have access to it. Amazon is on Amazon. Barnes and Noble in America, I've seen it on the site, and also my publishers, which is Westbow Press, is also on their website. What I could do is I might forward you the link so that you can put it up on the show maybe next time when we have the interview.
Yes, I'll be able to put the link underneath the description box of this video. Ladies and gentlemen, the description box, if you look in there, I will have the link to the book, and you can click it and you can purchase it from there. What are your social media accounts? Do you have any social media accounts so people can get on there?
Yeah, I've got on Facebook, I've got a page for Ziri Dafranchi, the author, even though I have a personal page. So on Facebook is Ziri Dafranchi, Ziri Dafranchi, yeah, just Ziri Dafranchi is Dafranchi. And also on Twitter, I've got a Ziri @Ziri.Dafranchi. You can also find me on Google Plus. Just type Ziri Dafranchi. Just your best bet might be just go onto Google and then type in Ziri Dafranchi, and I'm sure most of my profiles will come up.
Yeah, Google Plus is just like so amazing. It links everything together. We're actually shooting this video live with Google Plus through Google Hangouts, but it's an application that you get off Google Plus. So I'm amazed with the program. So I wanted to have you have an opportunity to ask people a question. I hope that people will answer your question in the comment box of the YouTube, but I want to give you a chance to ask everyone a question. Something, maybe anything that you might want to know, in the audience hopefully will answer the questions in the comment box. Do you have one?
Okay, yeah, I could. Like I said about my passion is really individual freedom. So what I would like to ask your viewers would be just one question, really, and that is, why do you think you are here?
That's a powerful question. That's a good question. That is a very good question.
Yeah, and the reason I've asked that question is that seems to be the question that originated the book Life, a Mystery Solved, and that seems also to be the question that the book tends to answer.
Oh my goodness, that's powerful. You know what? I really appreciate you being on today. I look forward to having you on the program more often. Like we said, on Sunday, 1 o'clock, we'll be having a show going on, and I'm sure we'll have just plenty of great topics for people to view and listen and tune into. Again, I want everyone to share this video. We went through a lot, his book, A Life in a Living Mystery. And we hit some topics, and he also got through lots of different situations that he had to go through. And I want you all to be able to get something out of this. It's a hard process to continue to go through things, but when you hear this video and when you apply some of the things that maybe you got out of this video, I'm pretty sure things can happen. Ziri Dafranchi, thank you so much for being on. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. itsmontez.com. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and share the video. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me. Much appreciated.